Hey, Halogen here. It's November the 5th, and I'm gonna quickly do a run on Sunny Meadows. I'll try and get a perfect game on my custom professional difficulty. Now, I also want to talk about ghost hunting. Actual ghost hunting. Now, I've seen many different videos of people going ghost hunting. How do I start this? Well, I've seen many examples of different kinds of ways that people have gone ghost hunting. And people do it in their own way, which is fine. But I've never gone ghost hunting before. IRL, you know? But if I did, I wouldn't be bringing any fancy equipment with me. Now, ghost hunts have been advertised in my local area as events that you can go on and have a good time and whatnot for quite a long time. The reason I haven't done it yet is because I don't have my own mode of transport. Because ghost hunts can, well, they're done at night. I rely on public transport all the time, which shuts off at midnight, so... But, if I were to, I'd be more happy to do it on my own, or at least a few of us. I wouldn't really touch any of the big events, where it's like 20 of you in a room. And the reason I don't trust them is because how do I know that the noise that you are hearing, the strange noise, is actually coming from a ghost, when it can quite easily be somebody in the room with you making a noise. So, the less of you in the room, the more of a chance you've got, well, you could believe that it's actually paranormal. At least in my view, anyway. But if I were to, I wouldn't bring any fancy equipment. I would probably go with just myself and a camera. Because, at the end of the day, you are your own ghost detector, in a way. If you've got eyes and ears that work, and not just that, you could feel it. But yeah, it's an odd topic. As you can tell, you can definitely tell I've never gone ghost hunting, with my lack of knowledge of it. But I've watched enough. I've seen enough debunking videos. People who claim to be genuine ghost hunters know what they're talking about. So anyway, onto the game. As you can see, I'm walking around with a paramic and a thermo, which is a perfect start, in my opinion, to a large map like this. Parabolic microphone, thermometer, and a camera in case the ghost shows itself, because you may have an objective. I didn't look at objectives. I probably could have brought a video camera with me, but I didn't like the idea of leaving the tripod behind. You know, I like to bring a tripod with me, so the ghost doesn't throw the camera away by the time I get back to the truck. That's the only thing that stops me from bringing a camera in on its own. Although, nothing's happened yet. I got the breaker on. Of course, we have the bone, because the bone is bugged on this map. It's, it always spawns outside the door to the male wing. I'm going to go down this way now and see see if we can find this ghost. It's being very, very quiet at the moment. Nothing's come up on the paramic. I'm going to turn around every now and then to see if anything pops up and picks anything up. This has got quite a large range on it. Don't know what that was. Too bad I don't have a paramic objective. I'll be able to easily tell if I've got something. Okay, that's my footsteps. It's one of my least favourite rooms in Sunny Meadows because of just how large it is. Okay. But yeah, ghost hunting. If I were to go ghost hunting, which would likely be in a lighthouse that I live near, it would just be myself and a camera. The trouble is, of course, you know, I say this thing, there is one problem with going on your own, is that you've got heightened fear. See, I don't like the dark, you know. I have had paranormal experiences in real life, genuinely. But I use the word paranormal very loosely. It's more unexplainable, to be honest. I've had feelings. Oh, we found the ghost. It's in that room, I'm taking it. This is why I have the thermometer. Yep, it's in here. Oh, brilliant. So, I'll tell you some stories of some things that have happened to me in the past. So, there is a place, well, there used to be a place, called Tanny Graig in Wales. It's near a place called Ruthin. And it used to be an outdoor education centre for high schools, before it was converted into a private residence. And that place is haunted. According to several people, though. I've only heard stories before I even stepped foot in there. But I've had unusual experiences. The most prominent experience I had was a feeling of absolute terror for no reason at all. Now, it's an very old cottage, built of old bricks and concrete. And the floors are hard tiles. It was dirty, it was mouldy, it was damp, it was cold. Not very looked after. Extremely dusty, extremely dark. Electricity sometimes didn't work. But there's a staircase. If you go in the entrance, you're in the living room. Turn left through a set of double doors. There's a staircase on your right. Are you here? I go up the staircase and there's another long corridor with several rooms, and that's where we slept. At night, if I wanted to go to the toilet, I had to go down the long corridor, down the stairs, and in front of you was another long corridor, and at the end is a set of doors to the toilets. Male, female toilets. With showers in them as well. The lights in the men's toilets never worked. They never worked. The lights in the female toilets, of course, did. I wonder why. But I don't know. But the light in the corridor was well lit. The thing that struck me, though, was every time I got down the stairs, I would feel terror. And I just did not know why. I would just have this rush in my chest, like I just did not want to be in there. I was too scared to move. I would always wait for somebody else to use the toilet first, and then I would follow them in. And this one, on every single time I wanted to use the toilet, I'd get to the bottom of the step, and I'd look down the corridor, and I'd just feel terrified. And I wouldn't know what it is. Now, I didn't tell many people this, other than my science teacher, of all people, who I think jokingly said it was haunted by a monk, because he was a funny man. I did take him seriously, though, because I was a kid at the time. I'm going to close the book for now. I don't want to miss it. I'm going to get a crucifix. But many years later, one of my siblings went to that very same cottage. And he had a good time. He spent a couple of days there like I did. And then he came back. It was like, I don't know, 2010. Let's skip forward to 2022. I'm having a conversation. Yeah. Seeing my siblings. And one of them brings up an unusual feeling that he had at that cottage. He described feeling terrified at the bottom of the stairs. And that shook me because I didn't really say anything. I didn't tell many people. I told my science teacher and a couple of friends. I became sick on the last day and I just wanted to go home and get to bed. I think my brain was mainly focused on the good time I had because we used to do midnight walks. Other than that, I can't remember what was going through my head and why I didn't tell anyone. But I didn't tell a soul, at home, at least. But he brought up the fact that he also felt terror at the bottom of those stairs. Now, we both immediately just went, oh yeah, it has to be a ghost, right? The problem with it is, and this is why I use the term paranormal loosely, is that it could have just been high levels of EMF. I mean, the wiring was terrible in that place, for a start. So there's a ghost throwing a lot of stuff in here right now. Let's try another thing. Are you here? Are you close? Oh, hi. Do you know what? I didn't even bring a bloody UV. Let me get some more salt as well. But yeah, I have two minds about it, you see. One half of my brain is like, it has to be, you know, there might have been a ghost there. The other half of my brain is thinking logically, was there an electrical meter, like a breaker box at the bottom of the stairs that I don't remember? Was there a load of cables underneath the staircase, you know? The truth is, I do not know. I do not know. So yeah, that was one of my experiences in an old cottage. That was, well, they labelled it haunted. I don't actually know if it was or not. That's the thing. So, total mystery, right? It could be high levels of EMF, or it could be a ghost. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. It was just feelings. That's all it was. But yeah, I don't know what the cottage used to be. I don't know anything about the history. I don't know when it was built. I don't know who used to own it. I know nothing about it. I would have to travel, I think, to that town to find out. And go to the local archive. Also, I realised I didn't shut the book. So it's probably written in it while I'm away. Oh no, it didn't. Okay. Okay, so it's not UV. I don't think it's Spirit Box either, but I'll try again. Are you here? Oh yeah, it's dots, of course. Are you... And the door's still open. I doubt it's a Yore. Although we don't know if it's broken yet. It's a Raiju. That's bad. Turn off the motion sensor so I don't get a double. Record that quickly. It's giving me a lot of dots figures right now. I didn't mean to do that. That ticking, my goodness. There's an awful lot happened in one go then. Got fire extinguisher and EMF. Alright, no ghostly sounds coming. Got the ghost photo. I need a ghost video now. I can get that with this. Just like that. Paid actor, thank you. Let me put this back on its tripod. I don't feel safe without a smudge right now, but I've got a crucifix at least in here to protect me. At least I'm holding on to that hope. I have taken pills, though. I got fire extinguisher already. Okay. I need 2 photos. So I could get a photo. It's not UV, unfortunately. This can't be writing and it can't be freezing. So let me... Well, it definitely can't be freezing because Mimic isn't dots. Why did... I was going to say, why did the ticking stop? I've already got a dots photo, so that's alright. I guess what I could do... I can get an EMF photo, of course. I'm going to get a smudge, though, just to be safe. But yeah, I've had a few unusual experiences in my time, but... The one at that cottage is probably the one that sticks to in my mind a lot. As... the one that I think about the most. I used to work at... I'll tell you another one as well. I used to work at a lighthouse. As a, well, volunteer. I was a guide. We used to do tours. I used to do tours, I mean. And, the lighthouse is, haunted. Same situation. I worked there as a volunteer tour guide for 7 years. About 7 years. And the only thing I've experienced in there was the sound of footsteps, well, what appeared to be. We only opened at around midday, like 12 PM, and then we shut the doors at 4 o'clock. So even in like summer and winter, it was still light out. So, you know, hardly anything happened during the day. There have been ghost tours there. Oh, I'm getting a sound. But I heard a second-hand story from someone who is a skeptic. And she went up after everyone had left to go home. All the people on the tours and all this. She decided that she was going to go up to the top of the lighthouse on her own and lock the doors. All the doors. So she did. She was paired with someone else. It was her and I think the head volunteer. And she went up and she got to the top floor, which is the 7th floor. And she went to lock the door. And she couldn't turn the handle. It was her and the head volunteer, they sort of met in the middle. That's what they were going to do. She went to the top first, and he was going to lock from the bottom. And when they were done, they were going to meet in the middle. So she went to the top, and he was on the, well, we call it the first floor. You guys in America... no, we call it the first floor. You guys in America would call it the second floor. But he was at the bottom, just about, and she was at the top. And she was trying to close the door, and she couldn't do it. She couldn't turn the handle. She couldn't turn the key, even. And suddenly, she heard a male voice behind her say, "Lift the handle up," and then turn it. Just simple. And so she did, and the key turned straight away, and it locked. And she turned around to thank the voice who said that, and there was absolutely no one there. She, of course, remembering that she was on her own. That shook her a bit. She doesn't really talk about it much. Even for someone who is a hardened skeptic. I don't know if she still is a skeptic, if I'm honest. Need to find a hiding spot. So that was a second-hand story. The things I experienced in there in 7 years were just odd noises like bangs and footsteps. Well, look at that. The game gave me a ghost at the end of this corridor with no hiding spots. Look at that. Unless there's a bookcase in here I can hide behind. Okay, good. I can hide here. Okay, so I'm going to take this away. I'm going to put it in this room here. I'll wait for you to hunt. Right. While I was waiting for Hunt, I will, yeah, that's all. Those are the only two profound ones that I can remember. You know, I remember my parents telling me some odd stories when I was younger. My dad stands by a couple of the stories that a couple of the things he's experienced, and he's told me a few. He used to live in a haunted former bathhouse. It's the kind of old building that used to stand on site of an open-air swimming pool when they used to exist in this country. And he lived on the top floor in an apartment. And he's had various odd ones, you know. He claims that there was a poltergeist haunting the place. He says poltergeist. It was actually just like, it was a ghost that never showed itself, but it would create smells and make loud noises. It would throw things, it would bang on cupboard doors, it would slam doors, it would stomp, you know. But he would always say the paranormal events would start with the smell of lavender first. He would smell lavender, and then he would hear what sounds like someone dragging a metal stick up the banisters, along the stairs, and then something big would happen. Like a door would slam, or something would be thrown. But he would always say it would start with the smell of lavender, and then it would be a loud noise like someone dragging a stick across banisters, and then something would happen. Another one. His experiences are very strange, though. They're quite surreal. There was another one. It's ringing that bell so many times. Another one was in the same building. He went out one day. He said it was just after Christmas. I think Christmas is quite important in this story because it involves a fake plastic Christmas tree, one of those tall 6-foot ones. And he always stored it in the understairs cupboard. There's like a little cupboard under the stairs where the electric box and everything was, and the breaker. And he would store it there. He went out one night to go drinking and whatnot. And he was out for a few hours. And when he came back, he... I don't know what the circumstances and how he found it, but he heard a noise under the stairs. Like a loud clunk. Sort of like that. Thank you, Ghost, for demonstrating it for me. And he went under the stairs to find... the Christmas tree was behind the breaker box on the wall, as if someone had unscrewed the breaker and all of the cables, put the Christmas tree behind it, and then screwed the tree into the wall with the breaker box. Literally stuffed behind the cables, so tightly it was impossible to do it without unscrewing the breaker. I think that was the final straw for him. That was like one of the strangest, oddly specific one. Very oddly specific. There goes the writing book. Another one was he was out and about. Don't know what he was doing. I don't think he can remember what he was doing either. It was such a long time ago. And when he came back, he found his downstairs neighbour, because it was apartments, remember. He was upstairs outside his door, knocking on his door. And his neighbour was pretty frustrated because there was water flooding through the ceiling into his apartment downstairs. And my dad was confused. He was like, what's going on? Bloody hell, Ghost. That scared me. Stuck on geometry, of course. That scared the life out of me. My dad was stuck on geometry. No, he wasn't. I'm getting confused. My dad was confused. Is this ghost going to leave so I can tell the story? Okay, he's going back to the room. I've got my eye on that corner in case the ghost comes round. Okay, let's go. Let's get out of here before he hunts again. But yeah, my dad and his neighbour, they both went into the apartment, went into the kitchen and found his cast iron, or whatever metal it was, twin to washing machine, had been dragged into the centre of the kitchen, hooked up to the tap, and the tap had been turned on and it was flooding. It was overfilling. It was flooding his apartment and it was flooding the apartment below. And eventually he moved out. That was it. Those are 3 ghost stories. I apologise if I dragged them on for too long. I tried to see if I can drag it out without the majority of the investigation. But yeah, the unusual Christmas tree incident, the washing machine, the knocking and banging, the smells, my experience with just feelings. My idea of going ghost hunting is just an opinion. It's like, you know, if there was an event with like a ghost hunting event and I knew that 20 or 30 people were going on it, I wouldn't know how I'd feel. I've been on a similar one. I've been on a tour of bunkers and they said there were ghosts there, but I felt nothing. I was down there for 3 hours, nothing happened. But yeah, if you've had any ghost stories, I'd love to hear them. Please post them in the comments. And that'll be it. So this was a Raiju. Let's check if I got everything. That hunt actually made me jump because I was telling a story while waiting for my sanity to go down and for it to hunt. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little video.
Welcome back. I've prepared some jobs for you.
That was a perfect game on Sunny Meadows. There you go, that was 27 minutes, almost the exact length of the video. And of course the ghost, the bone should have been in morgue, but it wasn't. It was in the corridor next to the male wing, and it's always going to spawn there. It's bugged. So anyway, November the 5th 2025, I'm going to finish off for today and I'm going to go out because it's bonfire night, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you again. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.